What's up, fight fans? And we are back at it with another edition here around One Sports TV. I am your host, Edwin. What's up, fight fans? We have a lot to talk about. Uh, Sergio and Martinez, both of them guys came up short last night. Espinoza and Troy Isley got some impressive victories. Let's talk about it and what this means for Naoya Inoue's future in the sport, and where the landscape looks like. We're going to break all of that down, and we're going to touch on some of the biggest topics that is going around in the sport of boxing today. Um, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and a couple other things we could also talk about. So let's get right into this. And I want to congratulate Espinoza for an impressive performance. He is the 126-pound WBO champion of the world, and it's very important that I keep track of who has that belt for the near future. Because as we know, Naoya Inoue is, you know, where the world is waiting to see when he makes that next big step to another weight division, which will be his fifth weight division. The reason why I'm keeping track of the owner of the WBO title in the adjacent weight division is because that's Naoya Inoue's entrance. That's his ticket to the next division, shall he choose it. Any other champion can challenge him, but that's the mandatory ticket right there, the WBO, and whoever has it. So I wanted to see how Espinoza looked, right? And Robesi was there. He was in the locker room of Sergio, and he was motivating him on and stuff. And it really looks like Espinoza really is coming into his own. He's starting to get world class training. Championship, uh, training, and he's starting to feel like a champion. He talked about it. He talked about how now he's viewing himself as that guy. He knows he belongs. He has that kind of confidence, right? In fact, Sergio, right? He was ranked number 2 in the world. So it's not like Espinoza took on some low ranked opponent. Sergio is ranked number 2 in the world. So, this was a very big win. And the momentum Sergio was coming off his last fights. This was good. And not only was a very big win, right? It's how you look in your performance. Am I right? Am I right? It's how you perform on your night. And it showed that he's already getting the kind of confidence that it takes to be and sustain a world championship. You believe in yourself. You believe you're there to kick that guy's ass, and he's here to assist you. That's it. For as tall as he is, if you didn't know, right? He's the tallest featherweight ever in boxing history at 6'1". There has been no other man in boxing history to weigh 126 pounds and be that height. So he has special attributes that he can really use, right? Which would be his height and his reach. So in the fight against Sergio, right? Sergio goes to hit him and he rolls the punch. And the first time he knocked him down, he hit him with this slick uppercut. It was very nice. And I don't think that Sergio thought that he could hit him in that range. He thought that maybe his punch would be stifled. It would, it would be too long, right? The way he found his chin, rolled the shot, hit him with the uppercut, and dropped him. That was good work. That was good work. And for being a man that tall and that lengthy, on the inside, he was pretty slick. He was pretty slick with it. He's showing that, he's he's world class caliber. And I think Robesi is gonna have a hard time. Again, not only, you see, there's a lot of things that took place in that Robesi Espinoza fight. There's a lot. Robesi hit him with his best shot, and Espinoza didn't go down. In fact, he put Robesi down, and he came back and he weathered the storm. And he showed that he had power in the later rounds and that his power will carry. Robesi's training and his started all to deteriorate. He was picking him apart. And he pulled one of the biggest upsets of 2023. 2000, when was that fight? He had the upset of the year was 2023, right? And was it, or was it the end of 2024? I forget. Well, we are in 2024, the end. We're not even in the midway. What am I talking about? Right? Yeah, so it was 2023. So he got the comeback of the fight of the upset of the year. He got the upset of the year, right? So I was watching the way he was fighting, and he was fighting with a level of confidence. He had complete control. He was hurting Sergio with some big combinations. He was going inside. He was fighting long when he wanted to. He definitely was um, showing that he's improving for such a short period of time. So Robesi got his hands full. And here's the reason why I'm paying attention to this. Because if Naoya Inoue was to move up to 126 pounds, that would be one of his challenges. And I think that would be a hard puzzle sometimes, I would think. But Naoya Inoue is so good with his feet and his placement. He he knows how to move around shots. Um, Espinoza is crafty. He is crafty. But Sergio was not moving like Naoya Inoue. That's for sure. And he wasn't gonna be in those kind of situations. So it would be interesting to see how Naoya Inoue would fare against a guy that knows more or less how to use his reach and height in Espinoza. I haven't seen a lot of him. So I'm not going to be like, oh, he's just a master at his height and reach. Like Sebastian Fundora was in the first half of his career, where everybody was like, oh, this guy is so tall and long, but he fights in the inside and he fights good. So, there's certain fighters that bring these kind of puzzles, and it would be really interesting to see. Bruce Shoo Shoo's Carrington is another opponent that I think in the future could also fight Naoya Inoue. Vargas, I don't think I think Naoya beats him fairly easy too. Um, a fighter like Foster, if Foster was to still like he would entertain coming down. His height and reach, he uses it well. He's fought some bigger guys. He fought Nova. Nova fought on that card too as well. But one of the fighters that I'm gonna get to around to talking about is Troy Isley. He's coming along pretty good, and he's with Team Crawford and Bomac and them. So, but yeah, that's basically what I wanted to see. I wanted to see the future for one of the greatest fighters we have today, and who's gonna be there for him. What what do you think is going to be one of the toughest challenges for the Japanese superstar shall he choose to move up? Shall he choose to go up to another weight division? Now, mind you, I understand that Naoya Inoue has had an impressive run as of late, securing all four belts in his last two weight divisions, and he's in the weight division now currently where he has all four belts. This one weight division included makes two, right? Okay. So, because of the fact that he's made himself that kind of fighter, a lot of people are probably going to think that he would have to go up to 126 and get all four belts at 126. But that can't be further from the truth because all he needs is one belt at 126, and that's five weight divisions. That's it. That's a done deal. That's a wrap. The other three belts are for, I guess you as a fighter to see if you can do it. But once he secures one belt at 126, that's another weight division. He could already move on. He can go to like 130 if he wanted to, wherever. But he only needs one belt. So I know the kind of fighter that he's built himself out to be. And people are going to assume, he's going to get into 126 and he should go after all the champions and all the belts. Technically, he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't really need to do that. And then he can move up to his six weight division, would be 130, and all he would need is one belt there. So technically, Naoya Inoue can put himself in a conversation with just really two fights. But just because I say that, that shit's not easy to do at all. As you can see, he's stuck at 122. He's stuck there right now. He knows that he's hit his ceiling. That this move, the next time he makes a jump, he's gonna have to do it the right way. He's trying to pack on the muscles and the pounds the right way so that when he transitions upwards, he's still getting maximum skill out of his performances. He's not. He wants his body to respond. Because truth be told, you know, if they entice him to go up and bring him up to a bigger weight division just to beat him, it's always going to be said you didn't beat him in his own natural weight division. You didn't beat Naoya Inoue straight up. And I don't think he wants to give anybody in the world that kind of advantage over him. He wants at least to be in the fight as well. At least fight the real version of Naoya Inoue. Beat that version right there. Any man that can do that, kudos to you. I just want to see it. I want to see it. So, as far as contenders right now, in his way, if Akmadali is not getting this fight, which is probably the best fight, you know, I really don't think Goodman is going to present any challenge. And I don't mean to disrespect Sam Goodman because he's a great fighter in his own right. He's good. He's great. But his style of fighting, that shit's right up Naoya Inoue's alley. He's gonna fuck Goodman up, bro. It's gonna look bad. It's gonna look bad, bro. And I'm curious to see the guy that they fed to him, right, after being knocked down the first time in his career, where he wants to remind the world who he is. So that's why I don't think Goodman took that fight. He knew. He knew. He said to himself, yo, the next guy that fights that guy, oh, you might just get one of the best versions of Naoya anyway anyone's ever gotten. And he opted out of the fight. He said, I'll see you on the next one when you're a little bit more calmed down. Right? What's up, Lloyd? What's up, Ryan? Ryan Cookie. What's up, Richard? You see him clinching more than Ramirez did? Naoya Inoue? Really? I've never hardly ever seen Naoya Inoue clinch one time in a fight. I seen him clinch Donaire when Donaire stunned him in the Donaire one fight that he cut his eye up the top too. He had it. He already had his orbital bone broken by this time in the round. It was like the 6, 7 round, and Donaire caught him lovely. And Naoya Inoue clinched, grabbed him, got the cobwebs knocked out, and then proceeded to win the round. Yeah, I've never seen Naoya Inoue grab anybody, clinch no one for no reason. He didn't even clinch Luis Pantera Nari when Nari knocked him down. He grabbed him and spun on the ropes, pushed off, got to the center of the ring, and that was it. That was it. Naoya Inoue, I don't know where anybody would get the idea that he would clinch. He never gave me the impression, not even when he fought 5'11" Jason McDonald, the European champion. He was 5'11", right? And Naoya Inoue came in there. He was the dude was 5'11". He ain't lost a fight in 10 years. He was champion for 4 years. He's never been knocked out in his career. Ever. In his entire career. He's been the champion in that division, 118, for over 4 years. He held that title. Naoya Inoue walked into that fight, and one round he knocked him out. That guy's never been knocked out in his life. All it took that Japanese dude for him to have all that height on him was one round to figure him out. And he dropped him like 3 times in that first round, by the way. He didn't just put him down one time. He put him down like 2, 3 times. I think it was 2 times. And it was over. Naoya Inoue has fought against taller opponents, shorter opponents, brawlers, lefties, righties, technicians, counterpunchers. He's fought them all. Stephen Kubo Fulton, supposed to have the fastest feet, the fastest jab. Dusted him off, bro. Um, 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 Nonito Donaire was supposed to have the blueprint the second time. That was a massacre. Jason Maloney, good counterpuncher, good boxer. Destroyed him. Marlon Tapales, a forward pressure fighter, brute strength. Destroyed him. He beat them all. He beat them all. Line him up. He's gonna knock him down, bro. Um, just because Espinoza has height, or listen, if Robesi actually was to fight the Japanese dude, Robesi, right? Uh I think he would get knocked out faster than Espinoza, to tell you the truth. I think Robesi would get rocked by the Japanese dude. Robesi is too um he's just a better boxer, and he's not that tall. He's not that tall at all, Robesi. And I think he's only 1.5 inch taller than Naoya Inoue. If that, he'll get knocked out faster than Espinoza will. Espinoza, at least, he brings some interesting attributes to the fight. You know, for a guy 6'1", though, he doesn't have that long of a reach. He has a long reach, but it's not really like, you know, like a Sebastian Fundora reach. It's not like no shit like that. Sebastian Fundora's fucking elbow looks like it touches his knee and shit, for God's sake. He looks like he can stand on one side of the ring and tag you from the other side of the ring. But Naoya Inoue, man, every time people don't see him fight, they forget who he is, or the tests that they put in front of him, and the way he's dominated these dudes, bro. Just think about it, bro. Just think about it. A lot of these guys weren't going to beat Stephen Kubo Fulton. And I don't think a lot of these guys can. Watch when Stephen Kubo Fulton, comes back, right? And I said this. I was like, look, wasn't Stephen Kubo Fulton fight on whose card was he gonna fight on? He was supposed to. I think he's supposed to be fighting in July. And at the time, they didn't have a name next to his name. It wasn't an opponent to be announced at the time. I forgot to check back up on him. I forgot all about that. But yeah, and Stephen Kubo Fulton was supposed to be his greatest fucking challenge. We were supposed to be watching the destruction of Naoya Inoue. And Stephen Kubo Fulton was supposed to expose the hype job. Instead, got exposed. Like, and I know that word expose is thrown around in boxing a lot because it just seems like if they throw that word on a guy, then you're exposing him and showing all. No, no, no. There's a difference, and I'll repeat this again. Gary Antoine Russell did not get exposed. He lost the fight. He lost the fight. That's all he did. He didn't get exposed. He gave a good account of himself. He didn't get wiped down. His style didn't get exposed. No, he got taught a boxing lesson. That's different, right? Subriel Matias against Liam Paro. Subriel Matias lost the fight. That's it. He didn't get exposed. He lost the fight, right? Devin Haney against Ryan Garcia. He got exposed. That's getting exposed. When they revealed such a big hole, like it left the boxing world in awe. They were like, that's all you had to do? I bet Lomachenko was fucking smacking himself. All I had to do was pressure? Keep that him going backwards? And Ryan Garcia exposed a flaw in his fight that's being exposed. There's a difference, man. You can lose a fight and not get exposed. You lost the fucking fight. That's what that means. You lost the fight. But a lot of these people are going to use these words to try to sell their opinion on whatever they believe that happened. You see, and I don't think that right now, you know, Bruce Carrington. They've been asking him for quite some time right now for from his last fight. Naoya in a way went there and watched him for the audience and was looking at him, and then the whole world knew what he was there for, right? He was looking at the future, and Bruce bowed at him, showed him respect. Naoya in a way gets up and leaves, doesn't even watch the main event. Xander Zion, he didn't even stick around for that. He's not there for that. He's all about business. I don't want to watch any other fight or study any other fighter when that guy is not on my radar. What am I going to learn from him that I don't already know? Once I watched what I wanted to see, he got up and left. All business. He didn't look too impressed, but it's hard to get a read on Naoya anyway. He always got that same look, so I don't really know how to read him because he's yeah. I don't know. I don't know. After he whoops dude's ass, he gives him that little smirk, like that little. You thought you gonna beat me, huh? Yo. So that's what's interesting about those fights, this situation, and the near future. What do we expect? Who's gonna be there for one of the greatest fighters we have today? And whatever it has to do with Naoya Inoue, and I want to see because I cover boxing. I love warriors, the best fighters in the world. And if I know I'm watching something special, I'm going to pay attention to that. I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to watch the best fighter in the world, not a cab driver, not a tomato can. No, I want to watch the best of the best. And that's all the top guys today doing their things, and all the top prospects, and all the prospects that are turning into contenders. Let's see who's the best coming up, who's showing the best potential, and the new stars coming in, like Espinoza. Espinoza right now he really showed his ass, man, against that on that win, man. I gotta admit, he did. He looked more confident as a champion, and the test that he took, you gotta respect that. That guy's number 2 in the world. It wasn't like for your first title defense. He didn't fight a fucking guy that wasn't even not even ranked, or ranked 25 or ranked 30. You know how they do, right? Not bad for your first title defense, my man. And okay, first of all, being the underdog and not even supposed to have the belt, because he wasn't supposed to get past um um Robiri. I keep saying his name sometimes wrong. I'm sorry about that, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? So he wasn't supposed to get past the Cuban. So he's not even supposed to have the belt. And the way he's fighting as a champion, uh, listen, that's what's up, my man. He's doing his thing. It doesn't really matter who Naoya Inoue fights at 122 anymore, since he will destroy anyone there. Doesn't even matter if he fights a bum. It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. But most people, like fighters that have been following Naoya Inoue, will understand this. What I'm about to say. They want to see him fight MJ at Medallia, because Akmadalia has been in the mix throughout Naoya Inoue's run. He was in there, and he was one of the many guys that people said if he was to face Naoya Inoue, so just to silence the critics, I say let him get knocked out, because that's what's going to happen. Naoya Inoue is going to knock out Marlon Tapales. He's going to stop him, and it's going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be one of those brutal, slick knockouts with MJ. I could see it going down like that. Yeah, it's gonna sound hard. It's gonna be slick, and he's gonna go down like a sack of potatoes. That's exactly how it's gonna go. Mark my words. You put Akmadalia in the ring with Naoya Inoue, you'll see. Watch if it ever happens. I don't think it's gonna happen, because if you let this fight right here pass, I think this is gonna be the one. He's gonna fight this guy right here that got like the 34 record there. I forget his name. He's gonna fight him, and right after that fight, I think he's gonna vacate and move up. He'll be ready by then. I think. I would love to believe so, because it'll be his fourth fight at 122. That's how fast this guy's moving. He's coming up on his fourth fight at 122 pounds, and just to give you a calculation, him and Terrence Crawford fought within a month apart of each other, a couple weeks, and he's going on his fourth fight. Terrence Crawford hasn't fought yet. You understand? So that's uh, that's impressive. So let's see how you know whoever they bring to slaughter for him, because I know two things. He's coming off that performance where he was put down. Naoya in a way, he might have felt a little kind of way, and he has a tendency of really stepping up when he wants to. And whoever he fights next, he's gonna try to brutally knock him out. Yeah. What's up, George? The French guy, yeah, the tall dude. When he walked, um, Lloyd, right? That tall Frenchman. His name was like, um, boy something. What was it? Like Pooh Boy. Not that Pooh Boy Fulton was that, but it was close to that. Like he had some weird like nickname and shit. The French dude. He had the black trunks, the Adidas trunks on, and he fought Naoya anyway. He had a monster record. That French dude had like 43 fights. He was only beaten like two, 3 times out of like 43 fights. And Naoya Inoue destroyed him. That French dude. Straight, yo, with the height, reach, everything. That's why I'm saying, um, you know, if you guys are not really familiar with the Japanese dude, you're not familiar, I would get familiar with him. Look, I don't always support highlights. I like to really watch the whole original fight because the highlights sometimes are geared towards the winner. And sometimes when you catch the highlights, they're just going to show you the work of the guy that won, typically. And it's not going to really it'll probably give you a false sense of what the other guy looked like or how hard he was working and what he did to secure this win or how dominant it was. So I'm a big advocate on watching the original fight. That's how I do my homework. I don't like to watch highlights. The only highlights I watch are like fights I've already watched, but I had to watch the entire fight first, and then I can go back to relive my memory or whatever. I'll watch some highlights to speed things up. But I think I need to give the fighters that much of a respect, not to be reporting on highlights. So I recommend watching the entire fight. And Naoya Inoue's fights are usually short. So if you're going to do that, you're not going to be there for a long time watching fights. A lot of his fights are short fights. They're not a lot. It hasn't been a lot of his career where he's ever gone the distance, so I think he had like 4 fights going the distance. So that's all you would watch would be 4 fights that went the distance. And you would know from there every other fight, at some point in the fight, he knocks the guy out. So, yeah. He's really dominant. He's really dominant and he knows how to work around reach, jabs. He knows how to create distance. His distance management is unlike any fighter I've ever seen. Like when fighters like Sugar Ray Leonard, he relied heavily on accuracy, speed, and volume. That's how Sugar Ray Leonard fought. And he was athletic. So he had a real athletic build about himself. So he was real athletic in his ability to move. But his speed, his volume, and his accuracy on throwing punches, which would made Sugar so, and his speed was so blinding that it gave him the appearance of being that dominant. The difference between him and a fighter such as Naoya Inoue, that Naoya Inoue is thinking steps ahead of his opponent. If you make wrong mistakes in front of him, you're not going to get away with that like you did with Sugar Ray Leonard. And Sugar Ray Leonard wasn't that kind of guy. You can make a lot of mistakes in front of him. He was just going to capitalize on his speed, power, and agility. And he was going to capitalize in some moments. But that's just typically boxing shit, right? And Sugar was exceptional at that, at a real high level. He was probably the best, and he threw punches in bunches, accurate punches in bunches. He was tagging your face, pop, 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 pop. And that was kind of Sugar, man. That's what made him so special. But now Naoya Inoue is different. His distance management, that not letting a guy grab him, separating himself, shifting his feet to get the right torque out of his punches, to land devastating punches, to create those punches that cause knockouts, and to be able to knock you out from a small distance. It's almost like Bruce Lee's 1.5 inch punch. He can knock you out from like right here, like that. If you ever see that knockout with Jason Maloney, where he's not actually rolled, well, he did. He rolled his shoulder, but the shoulder roll was the fake. You got to understand that. The shoulder roll was the fake. He did this to fake Maloney to thinking he was going this way like that. And then he just snapped it. The torque and the power he got from that shot from such a small distance is crazy. It's crazy. If you go back and you watch that Luis Pantera Nara, the last knockout, when he hit him with the uppercut, mind you, this entire sequence was done with the same hand. The same hand. You saw how Tank Davis knocked out Frank the Ghost Martin. Go look how he did it. And look how Naoya Inoue did his. And look how um Frank his reaction versus Luis Pantera Nari's reaction, right? Japanese superstar with the same hand hits him. Boom, right? When he hit him, he noticed that now Luis Nari kind of like stubble. He had like that brief moment where like your motherboard gets shut off, but you were about to turn back on. Right in that moment, right there, you could see it. He got hit hard. He was coming out of it. And when he was about to notice what was going on, from this distance, Naoya Inoue went like this. He didn't talk back like this. He didn't reach from downtown. He didn't, nothing. Watch it. It was clean. It was clean. He went like that. Look at his Luis Nari. Yo, he looked like he got shot with a shotgun. You seen his head? Wait. Yo, his neck snapped back. Yo, he looked like he got hit with a bomb. And it was only like, he fucking hit him like this. He hit him like that. Bro, he fell off the ropes, right? That was sharp. That was sharp as hell. So when Tank Davis hit Frank the Ghost Martin, did you see Tank Davis's technique when he hit? Just went forward. Same shit. Same shit, right? Tank just and it was really sharp and fast. If you go watch that knockout in real time, Tank hits him, notices he's hurt. There's no thought process. This is just shit. Tank is just doing Tank Davis shit. He went, and just, bro, he fell back like this. His head snapped off the canvas. I think Luis Pantera Nari's the way his neck slapped off the rope looked a little worse. The fact he did it with the same hand was crazy, right? I think Tank Davis was a right uppercut and a left that dropped him. Naoya Inoue did it all with the same hand. He went, yeah, yo. So skill wise, I think the Japanese dude kind of did it better. But it just goes to show you his placement and his distance management to be able to hit that kind of shot. If he listen, trust me, if he was just maybe an inch and a half, 2 inches closer to Lewis, that punch wouldn't have been that hard. If he was just 2 inches backwards, he might have missed the punch because he probably would have gave him a little bit too much distance to like move. You see, so yo, he's truly remarkable, the Japanese dude, when it comes to those kind of situations, boxing situations, and his feet placement. He's always solid, just in case he gets a punch coming back. The worst situation I saw him in was when Luis Pantera Nares caught him. He looked ugly on the way falling down, bro. He looked like he didn't know how to fall. He had no idea ever in his life how to fall. He fell hard, like his whole body hit the side, like bam, like you ever see like Michael Vick ever try to slide in the beginning of his career when he would be running with the football and they say Michael Vick slide, bro. He was like a deer. He couldn't slide. Michael Vick couldn't slide to save his life. He couldn't take a dive. He looked so funny and awkward trying to slide because these men never. Michael Vick ain't never had to slide in college. He ran past everybody. He ain't never had a slide. But in the NFL, it's better defense. He was gonna have to slide, or you were no longer gonna have a long career. You were gonna get knocked out. So you know, he didn't. It looked like he didn't know how to fall. Now, yeah, anyway, he fell hard, and then that look that he had on his face when he turned around and he looked at the referee and he had his hand on his knee and he kind of was looking at the referee like, how the fuck did I get here? And he looked past the referee and he looked at Luis Patera Nari. He looked back at the referee. He said, 6, 7. He stood up. He looked across the ring. And the most impressive thing happened, man. He took over that fight like nobody's business. I've I've never witnessed that. I've seen guys come back after being knocked down, but I reintegrate. I say this again. They usually typically went through wars or battles to get themselves back into the fight. They were covering up for the rest of the round, hiding from the guy, trying to survive, grabbing, clinching. Then they worked themselves back into the fight, happened to clip the other dude. Now they got their confidence back. It took them a minute sometimes to get a second win. There were many different versions of when I saw a guy go down, how he came back. There was never a version I've ever watched in boxing or that I can remember where the guy drops the guy in the first round. You are at the strongest you're in. This wasn't no eighth round knockdown, right? This was the first round. And to put that, bro, you've never been down in a fight in your entire pro career. You're this kind of world champion. You're in fighting in front of your hometown, and you go down in the first round. And by the way, your brother went down in the first round in his fight that just fought on the same card ahead of you, and you just saw your kid brother go down and come back in the fight, right? And you saw how his kid brother did it. His kid brother was fucking losing, winning some rounds, losing some rounds, winning some rounds, trying to get back into the fight to win the fight, right? Okay, it was different with older bro. This was completely different. The minute he got up, Luis Pantera Nares never won another exchange. Not another fucking punching exchange. Not a sequence, not 10 seconds in the fight, nothing. He shut him down. Like that I was like, wow, that's crazy. So, it's impressive to watch. So I pay attention to the best because when I like to analyze and break down boxing, just like anybody else in any other sport, right? When Michael Jordan was at his height of his thing, you didn't watch fucking the janitor in a high school try to teach you, if Michael Jordan walked through that door and say, "Hey kid, let me teach you the jumper," or fucking Joe the janitor told you, "Don't listen to Michael. Let me show you the jumper." Who the fuck you gonna listen to? Right? You're gonna study and film and watch the best. Everybody wanted to be like Mike. And the song didn't go, "I want to be like Joe the janitor. I want to be." No, it didn't go that way. It went, "I want to be like Mike," for a reason that he was the best. When I cover boxing and I watch these guys, I study this guy. Why? He's the fucking best. He is the best. Yeah, I don't care what anybody says. I know what I'm watching. I know what he's doing. And I know what he's doing is not easy. Oh my God, it's not easy. You know? Look at, it's so fucking crazy about these men wanting to up one the next fighter, that once Terrence Crawford did this, Terrence Crawford started all this shit. He's the godfather, right? Because had it not been for Terrence Crawford doing remarkable shit and other fighters saying, "Wait a minute, that could be a goal I can do. I'm going to try to do the same shit," right? So other fighters embarked on trying to do such a. Naoya Inoue's done it. Usyk has done it, right? But the original is Terrence Crawford, okay? He's the original Dungada, right? So now he's moving up to 154, threatening to, you can win one belt. Yeah, 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 yeah. Calm down. That's not winning all four. And the odds of him winning all four are extremely against him, against Terrence Crawford. As you can see, people are already trying to avoid him. Sebastian Fundora was offered an opportunity and was about to vacate a belt just not to fight him. So and I think that that's what's probably going to happen, just to avoid him. So when you're saying, "Oh, Terrence Crawford's going to go up there and he's gonna get all the belts," mm, if you can put a gun to those guys' heads and make them fight him, perhaps. I think Terrence Crawford has the skills to do it. But will these guys fight him? Once again, you guys are like, "Nah, Terrence Crawford can do it, da da da," but you're not reading between the lines. You're not watching and paying attention to what's actually happening right in front of you. He didn't want Sebastian Fedorov doesn't want to fight him. His management doesn't want him to fight him. His handlers, his promoters, "No, we don't want the Terrence Crawford smoke." Sebastian Fundora's like, "Yeah, I'll fight anybody." Right? Yeah, yeah. And they're like, "No, no, no, no." So it goes to show you they might play keep away with those belts and they can age Terrence Crawford out of boxing. 2, 3 more years, Terrence Crawford's done. He's done. And he won't be the same man, I believe. And they'll probably finally beat him. He'll be up there in age and shit, trying to beat him at 30 fucking 8 years old. You know what I'm saying? And they'll probably put like a fighter like Jerron Boots Ennis on him just to beat him, just so that he doesn't retire undefeated, to derail his career, so he doesn't retire undefeated. That's what they'll do to these guys at the end if they're not smart and hang it up. And that's how a lot of great legends and champions have fucked up their careers throughout the boxing halls. Because there was a lot of these men and women that could have just walked away, you know, with one loss. That's why I question Errol Spence Jr. Technically, he only lost to one guy. If he was to walk away right now, he'd probably go down as one of the best welterweight champions of the world. So, like, but they don't stop. Boxers, some boxers just don't know when to quit. And some become financial, We've seen those stories, those horror stories, and the old champion goes in the ring and gets brutalized by some young up and coming contender, and they give him all the glory because he beat up an old washed up champion that was probably great in his time, like when Joe Louis got those massive ass whoopings and shit like that. And that was bad to see. And Muhammad Ali was getting beat up by Larry Holmes and shit. And that wasn't Muhammad Ali. Larry Holmes couldn't hold Muhammad Ali's jockstrap in his prime. Young Muhammad Ali, 24 years old, would have beat the shit out of Larry Holmes, bro. He would have punished that man. I'm talking about Cassius Clay. You put Cassius Clay with I don't give a fuck what version of Larry Holmes you find. I don't give a fuck. Cassius Clay would have beat the shit out of that man. But I remember the beating Larry Holmes put on him. That's what I remember. You know, Mike Tyson took some beatings off some bums he wasn't supposed to. You know, cocaine Mike Tyson bit off Evander Holyfield's ear in a fight he was winning out of frustration. He was actually winning that fight. Guys just don't retire well. Haney wants a rematch. Haney was the only one exposed. He was. Salud. What's up, Jay? Naoya Inoue versus Nick Ball. Gonna be a great. He's a pressure fighter, Nick, but he's short. He has wild kind of hooks. Those hooks connect. Those hooks be connecting, right? Oh, and just in case you guys are not aware, Regis Progress just got booked by the Zone to fight Jack Catterall. So the Zone put that fight. I believe that's for August. That fight's gonna be in August against Regis Progress and Jack Catterall. Hold on, let me check on the date. August 24th. August 24th. Jack Catterall versus Regis Progress for the Zone. See it? So that got announced. So, and who else got announced? I believe I had another announcement I wanted to make. Um, Let me see what you guys are saying over here. Ryan Boxing Talk up north. Naoya anyway versus Nick Ball. Yeah, I read that. Naoya Naoya said he will stay at super bantamweight one more year for the remaining of this year. He said it before the start of 2024 that he would complete the entire 2024 year in the bantamweight division before moving up. But once again, we all know that boxers say a lot of shit. Money changes everything, doesn't it? Sometimes. But when you have a fighter like Naoya Inoue where money doesn't move him, only belts and legacy move him. So he's only going to move to his pace. The Saudis already threw $69 million his way. Have we heard anything else about that $69 million? No, because guess what? They wanted him to fight some Muslim dude out there. Oh, it was MJ, in fact, right? For no belts, even at a catch weight, but it was $69 million. Naoya Inoue looked at them and said, "You think that I'm going to throw away my impressive title consecutive fighting streak, 21 consecutive world title fights in a row, to fight a fight for no belts, meaningless, and to break all my records? Because the minute he does that, that record's no stops right there at 21. So you want him to stop doing Naoya Inoue shit for money? You haven't heard anything else about that money, have you? Money doesn't move him. He's not here for that. He's here for only one thing. Actually, four things. One's burgundy, one's green, one's red, and the other one's black. And if you happen to have one of them and you're in his way, he's coming after you. You see? So he's not gonna do it. So it has to be for something. I would love to see Espinoza versus. Look, there's a lot of people I also would like to see Espinoza against, but Carlton, would I rather see him or Robersi first? Would I rather see the rematch against Robersi? Because I do believe that the champions that lost their belt deserve a shot at getting their belt back. So would I rather see Espinoza versus other guys than giving Robersi his his shot back? I mean, he gave Espinoza a shot. It would only be right. I know that there wasn't a rematch clause in the thing or whatever, and Espinoza had the right to fight whoever he wanted to, you know, and etc. But I would like to see that fight again. The Cuban superstar dropped him in that fight too. It was an exciting fight. I wouldn't mind watching that one first. Give him his shot back. I believe in that. I believe in that. You don't have to. You can move on. You could say, yeah, you could, you know what I'm saying? But shit, that guy gave you a shot. You know what I mean? Give him a shot back. Why'd he go to watch the featherweights? Naoya Inoue when he watched Boo Carrington? Is that what you're talking about? Robertsi doesn't have pop either. Bam Bam. I can't say that, Bam. Robertsi dropped Nova like a bad habit, didn't he? He sat him in the corner. He turned his lights out. Robertsi has power. Robertsi put down Espinoza. He can crack. I think he got a little too overconfident and threw too many punches, wasted punches in the fight against Espinoza because he didn't think Espinoza was going to come back like that in the fight. The ability that he kept his calm and kept his power going, Espinoza, it was pretty impressive. Robertsi just thought that he had that fight in the bag after he dropped him. He even laughed and smiled and looked at him. I think he exerted a little bit too much energy and threw punches that he really shouldn't have thrown. He tried to like power him, and Espinoza weathered that storm. Came back on that ass. Yo, Doc, what's up, baby? How you doing, Doc? If there's one man that can do it, it's Bud Crawford. Let me tell you something right now. Nobody wants that smoke if it got Bud in it. Nobody wants that smoke. Oh, that shit got Bud in it? Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm go that way. And they don't want that smoke. Come on. Bud Terrence Crawford, he's really gonna make a statement here against Ishmael, right? Because it's going to go to show when a lot of fighters try to move up in weight versus how they looked versus how Terrence Crawford, an elite fighter, looks. Okay? Bomac and Terrence Crawford and company, they're smart. Bomac knows exactly what he's doing. Why? Because it's not just Bomac training Terrence Crawford. Bomac surrounded himself by a variety of coaches and different methods and different trainings. Terrence Crawford, right? What I think separates him from a lot of boxers is not even boxing. Check it out. Stay with me. If you didn't know this about Terrence Crawford was like a fucking division whatever wrestler in college. He was a wrestler before he was a boxer. If you fuck around and meet Terrence Crawford and see him in a dark alley and you think what you got to worry about is his boxing, yo, he'll take you down and choke you the fuck out on some professional wrestling shit. Terrence Crawford has medals, awards, trophies, and he's entered real wrestling tournaments. Real wrestling tournaments. And the reason why I bring that up and I said all of that to say this, as a wrestler, right? You're always asking yourself, why did that guy do that move on the mat? What do you do? And what is the counter to the move, the wrestling move you're learning? If someone else tries to do the same wrestling move you just learned on you, how do you get out of it? And then when you're on the mat and the coach says, push your hips on the mat to the left, you ask why. And the coach is going to explain to you, if you do that, it's going to cause this next position. By adopting a kind of mindset where you were constantly asking, what is it that your opponent's doing? Because it's wrestling is kind of like, if you move the wrong way, you're done. You're going to get caught in a choke, in a Kimura with the jujitsu, an arm bar. And you start to learn how to implement all that. So what you do all the time while you're wrestling, you're asking, do I put my hand here? And don't put your hand there. If you put your hand there, he's going to snap it. But you can put your hand there, but it's got to be 4 inches back this way. You see? And that's how Terrence Crawford adapted his fighting mentality. That's what I believe are traits that makes him a superior boxer. He's constantly asking himself, why are you moving that way? Why did you throw that punch? Why did you duck that way? If I do this, he's doing that. That's his mindset. And with that kind of mindset combined by boxing and his God given ability, there's a lot that goes behind that man. There's subtle things and things that he does in the ring that if you really didn't really know, really like boxing, you're not gonna notice what he's doing. You're not gonna understand it. You're just gonna be like, oh, he just whooped that dude's ass. Yeah, he did that. Yeah, he whooped the dude's ass, but the way he set it up, the way he had him thinking, like in some games, right? You'll watch the greats perform, like your Joe Montanas, your Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes, right? Patrick Mahomes is looking this way and he throws the ball this way, right? The defense is looking at his eyes, ain't they? And he's looking back, and he's on target, on point. The great ones can do great shit in their sport. That's what separates them from your average. The guys that are doing it at a fucking elite level. Terrence Crawford is one of those guys in our sport where that you're not going to do too many things in front of him and get away with it. He's constantly asking himself, why did you do that? Why did you do this? And when you're doing that combined with his kind of skills, it's just his mentality as a fighter. He also has that mindset as a fighter that he's going to break you down. And it's just really a matter of time. And those are the elite ones, you know. Oh shit! We got a dope nation fight, my man. Hold on. We got the freedom with the round one. Where does every fight start? Round one sports talk. Thank you. Thank you. That's right. Because we got
Another one.
another one. Thank you for your donation. I appreciate it. And he says, Ryan, just showing love, brother. Just subscribed. I love the content. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for joining, and thank you for supporting the brand. Listen, I tell you what. There's oh, here we go. We got a subscriber. How you doing? Oh, that's my man. He's making sure he got that subscribing. That's right. So there's a lot of fighters out here right now that are making power moves that we're gonna start to see in 2025. Some really, really amazing bouts. And I believe in August 3rd, when Terrence Crawford does kick off that card, the Saudis have a couple other cards that they're talking about. And it's not a rumor anymore. The Saudis are trying to buy boxing, and what they're trying to do is make like a boxing league. And in a sense, I think that would be better control. That would be the control in boxing, to stop making this such a wild wild west sport. That's why boxing in all sports is like reviewed as the last sport, because of all the shit and corruption sometimes in the sport of boxing, as we all know. But some people get corruption. Some guys like to throw that word around too, another word in boxing, when people ain't getting their ways. To be honest with you, um, some of these guys in boxing nowadays are very skilled, but I gotta admit, there's some crybabies, real pussies, bro. A lot of these fighters now, they're not like when in my day. And it's not even their fighting skill or their no, it's not. It has nothing to do with their fighting skills, their style. In fact, they're getting better. It's their mental game. And what do I mean by that? Bro, I've never heard so many skilled boxers in my entire life, in the same era, in the same boxing era, fucking retire and quit. What do I mean by that? Didn't Ryan Garcia quit and retire from boxing due to mental health? Now he's retiring, quitting again. Didn't Devin Haney just announce that he's going to retire and quit too? He's going to take 2 years off or a year off, right? Didn't Shakur Stevenson say he was retired too because he didn't get the Navarrete fight? Didn't Teofimo Lopez retire too? Bro, I have never seen so many tough guys mentally weak. It's like they all, and when they get some hurdle in their life or an obstacle, it seems like what they're teaching the kids is quit or retire when shit gets tough. I've never seen so many tough men be so mentally strong. I mean, mentally weak. It's remarkable. I'm like, these dudes, bro, this age of boxing, although they are skilled and talented, they're a bunch of mentally weak pussies, bro. Any fucking hurdle. Oh, I retire. I retire. I'm done. I'm done with boxing. I don't want to be about boxing no more. Every time something goes on, these kids teach the other one to just yell out the word, oh, I'm retired. And I'm pretty sure you guys can remember a couple of boxers that already retired again as well. Yo, in this era, I've never seen anything like this. I'd be like, shit. Yo, then T.O., then Shakur, then fucking Devin A, then Ryan Garcia, then I was like, bro, this shit is crazy, right? Just think about it. These dudes ain't they ready to check out, run. Whenever life gets tough, it's just like it seems like in a sense they're tough guys, but emotionally, you can't say something wrong. You'll hurt their feelings. You say, "Oh, did you say I fought a fax? I'm gonna retire, bro." I never seen no shit like this in my life, and it's in the same era. It's going on right in front of you at the exact same time. It's mind boggling, and in fact, I think they're getting better. By the generations that are going on, the skills that are being shown, and it just baffles my mind. I've never seen so many tough guys get bitch smacked and allow it to stay like that. I'm just, where the fuck do they're okay with shit like this? These guys nowadays are okay with telling a lie as a joke and going, all right. And the lie or whatever fantasy that they came up that it sound funny, that's more revered than the actual truth. Yeah. Like a dude can come up and play with you in the game or somewhere, and he'll say, bro, you sound fat. And everybody will be like, ah, right? And the dude is 120 pounds. The truth is he's 120 pounds. But the fact that if just because he said that, that means like Tank Davis. When Tank Davis said to Devin Haney, oh, you're an email champion, where the hell they do that at? Right? The entire world went out to Devin Haney, and he took shit behind that. But the truth is, he was never the first person in boxing history to be emailed and notified that they got upgraded. In fact, there was hundreds of fighters that found out that way before Devin Haney. But if Tank Davis said, "Oh, where do they? Is that the first time they did that?" The lie is better than the truth when they talk shit nowadays. You can just talk shit now and just say anything remotely cool, and that's funnier than the truth. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get these dudes getting smacked up, mentally checking out. But once again, I say their skill level, I think it's better. I think it's better. I think we're teaching these young guys better moves, get faster to the punch, learning how to take fat away from your fight plan and get to the target a lot faster. Learning the ins and outs of boxing. I believe a lot of these young boxers, they were further along than the guys 25 years ago. They were further along. When you start to break out eras in boxing, an era is usually like a 20-year span. It's typically when, most boxers, they're not even fortunate enough of having a 20-year career. But those are the eras. 10 years is not enough. You'll technically still be in the same era. 20 years, 25 years, it's definitely when you get that where you're like you one era past another. Like we had the Floyd Mayweather era, right? We had the Muhammad Ali era, the Mike Tyson era. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Julio Cesar Chavez era. And the list goes on. And the list goes on. Sugar Ray Leonard era, shit like that. But Sugar's era and Floyd's era weren't in the same. They weren't in the same. You understand? So that's why what it separates it for. So When it comes to that, like that, I think that these kids are pretty good now. I think they're fucking awesome. Just like, but the world went up and got all sentimental about talking shit to one another, and it's I guess it's been really installed in them, to try to, like, I don't know, be less aggressive. I guess I I don't get it. I don't get it, but they're good, and these guys have a lot of potentials, and they fight well. Although that has been a pattern, I can't take nothing away from these kids today. They look fucking amazing. They do. They really do. And I believe that boxing is in good hands. 2025, these kids are going to start to toughen up. They're going to have to start toughen up. A lot of them are fairly young. Tank Davis is getting up there now. Shakur, in fact, is getting up there. Shakur Stevenson, when I found out he was actually older than Devin Haney, and it kind of seemed like Devin Haney took him under the wing, right? And then Shakur Stevenson went back with Terrence Crawford and Andrew Ward. He's always been in Shakur's corner since the beginning. So, although I can criticize them for being mentally weaker, um I believe that their skills are just that much sharper than what guys were coming out 25 years. Although there were your special ones, but it seems like there's more guys at a higher level now than there was then. Kind of, I guess. you know yeah. The Felix Trinidad era. Felix Trinidad was an awesome fighter. Unfortunately, he was the same fighter every time. They had too much film on him, too much study. When Bernal Harpington beat him in Madison Square Garden to unify all the belts, um, he had studied Felix Trinidad too much. His Felix was winning the same way all the time. Felix can hurt you with both hands. He had a monster check hook, and I mean a monster one. When he hit Vargas, knocked him down the second time in the 12th round, not the first knockdown, but go back and look at it. Felix Trinidad hit him with a lightning check hook. I swear to God, when I saw that live, I didn't know what he hit him with. And I'm watching it. I was watching it live. When he hit him, I think I blinked. I swear to God, I'm not trying to be funny. I think I might have blinked. So in my head, it looked like, what it looked like was Felix stepped to him and he just crumbled. That's what it looked like. He went, it went. He knocked him down. Right? They counted. Then the referee told Vargas, "You all right?" He said, "Yeah." And when Tito does that step, he went in my head. It was like a picture. He went step, step, and he went poof, and he crumbled. I was like, "What the fuck he hit him with?" And when they showed the highlight, yo, that check hook was nasty, bro. Oh, it was so nasty. It was so sharp. It didn't have a lot of meat on it. Felix Trinidad's check hook came right from here, from like his hip, and he would pick. He had like two of them. The hooker, the one that he hooked like this, where he was a big hooker, that one was dangerous. But he usually threw that one when he was confident. The sharp one he would throw from right here, from his hip, that he would hit like this, that was the sharp one. There's not a lot of men in the world that had a nastier check hook than Felix Trinidad. There's not. Um, I talked about this. Well, okay. Sugar Ray Robinson had one of the best left check hooks, right? But it was nice. But throughout the years, fighters learned how to throw it better. Okay. One of the best fighters that threw the check hook was fighters like Nonito Donaire. He had a monster check hook. Naoya Inoue perfected his check hook. Naoya Inoue has a mean, like a fucking mean check hook, right? But Felix Trinidad's check hook I even gamble to say it's still better than Naoya Inoue's check hook. It was more natural. It was more like a natural, like, you know, I'm not gonna say that Tito was better on the accuracy. No. Naoya Inoue's check hook percentage of landing was probably higher than Tito's. Tito would probably have to throw the check hook multiple times to pick up his range. He wasn't, pray tell, the best at range. Felix Trinidad. He wasn't really the best at, but throwing it, the form is what I'm judging. Is what I, the form of that shit was nasty. It was probably one of the best I've seen. I mean, there's a lot of good honorable mentions, and I'm probably sure there's some guys like, okay, Julius Jackson had a mean check hook, but his kind of like went over like off the punch. You know what I mean? It was fast. Jackson, he had a mean one too. Who else? There was some hookers in fucking boxing, some good ones. Anybody? Miguel Cotto, his era, his hook to the kidney, to the body shot. Miguel Cotto had one of the most vicious body shots. Yo, I'm pretty sure he made some guy shit on himself. Yo, his body work was crazy. Floyd Mayweather came out of that fight with Miguel Cotto and he admitted, he said, I want to retire, bro. That boy hit hard. He said he was hitting my arm and my body was still vibrating. That's how hard Miguel Cotto was hitting down to the body. That he wasn't even connected to hitting Mayweather's. He was hitting his defense, his guard, and it was still hurting Mayweather. After the fight, Mayweather admitted to that. Go back and watch the locker room when Mayweather talks about Miguel Cotto. See how much credit he gave Miguel Cotto. He talked a lot of shit about him leading into the fight. Oh, he's slow like this, da da da. Yeah, that's selling the fight. But the respect is mutual once you share that ring. And Floyd would give fighters their flowers and he would tell the truth. Floyd. He would be arrogant about it, but he would speak the truth. And he said, boy, I ain't never been hit that hard. Miguel Cotto hit me the hardest. Shane Mosley stunned him the hardest. And Shane Mosley probably hurt Mayweather at the point where that he almost dropped him. He's probably the closest ever. Zab Judah, not so much. He caught him, but I don't think Zab really hurt Mayweather like Shane did. Shane hurt Mayweather where Mayweather grabbed his hand and was like holding on for dear life. Y'all saw it, and his knees buckled and them red shorts with the black lines. He was like, "Hey," and he was holding on for dear life. But the one thing I did notice in that fight, Shane Mosley never landed that punch again for the rest of the night. He took that away from him. And that's shit that the greats do. That's elite level fighting shit right there. Yeah. Roy Jones, one of the best. One of the best, Roy Jones, right? The thing with Roy Jones was that he was so dominant, right? And listen, skill for skill, there was nobody doing it like Roy. Okay. As a matter of fact, Roy Jones' era was during the time Mayweather was coming up. If to work your memory, it was always talked about as Roy Jones or Mayweather for the number one pound for pound fighter in the world. And Roy Jones kept that crown until he got knocked out by Tarver, Magic Man Tarver. Once Roy Jones got knocked out, the public deemed Floyd Mayweather the number one, and he never let go of the torch. Once Roy got knocked out. But now Roy was already embarking at the tail end of his career. Mind you, he had already went up in divisions, came down to defend the belts. You see, Roy was all over the place. And the one thing with Roy Jones, to tell you the truth, no one ever punched him square in the face like that. Hardly. He barely got hit in his entire career. That he was moving so well and avoiding so many punches and had his opponents outclassed by a wide margin that I'm not sure if while in sparring he allowed anyone to hit him. That many years of not getting cracked solid, you might be skilled, but your chin has gotten weaker. Your chin does not know how to take a punch. And that's what you saw with Tarver. When Tarver hit Roy Jones, a regular boxer to the quality of Roy Jones should have been able to eat that punch with no problem. He knocked Roy Jones out like if Roy Jones was chinny. Like if the gust of wind would have knocked him out. Then to furtherly prove that, he goes out his next fight and gets knocked out again. Because those kind of fighters that were that good adapted the thing. Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't let nobody hit my face. I shouldn't let nobody touch me. You go 6 years in professional boxing without letting no one touch your face. Your body forgot what it's like to take a punch. And all it took was a straight shot. Brother, you allowed the one thing to get weak, your chin. He ain't letting nobody touch him. Nobody. Not his sparring trainers, no one. When Roy Jones was Roy Jones, if you had to earn it. To put gloves on his face, you would have to earn it. And there weren't many people that ever put a glove on his face. In any boxing match, his face forgot what it was like to take a punch. And that's why he went out like that. Roy Jones's era, though, I got to admit, when he was on his rise, he was one of those kind of fighters that was, he was ahead of his time. He understood things, hit a certain way, did certain things that made regular boxers look below average. He was beating like really tough guys and making it look that easy. And that was the Roy Jones era. He was a force boxing had never seen. And he was that dominant. I mean, then later in his career, he didn't retire well. And he didn't age well in the sport of boxing. Fighting all these fights up in heavyweight and shit, being places he didn't belong. That's what got your ass knocked out in the first place. You going up and fighting fights you shouldn't have been fighting. Then coming back down to fucking fight this guy to defend belts you never vacated and end up getting knocked out. When you went and fought a heavyweight matchup against a heavyweight champion, Ruiz there, and was getting punched by heavyweight blows, but nothing like right here. Nah, ain't gonna be none of that. He got caught right there. It was over. And I was just like, wow. For a man to be that dominant, Roy Jones, he should have ended his career way better as a way better legend champion. But all those losses, they count. And those times he fucking got knocked out the ring and lost to Gonzaga, and Gonzaga's in the fucking ring doing Roy Jones to Roy Jones. He was actually Roy Joning Roy Jones. That was embarrassing. I was like, but I know the truth. None of them guys would ever put hands on Roy Jones in his prime. Not one of them. You can put any version of those guys that actually beat him at the tail end of his career. You get the best version of them and give me the best version of Roy Jones. Bro, I'd probably bet my life on that. That's how confident I would be. Roy would smash them. Easy. David Reed. Some people were coddled in boxing. And they were really protected, I tell you. Now, listen, fight fans, it's been my pleasure to chop it up, talk boxing. You guys know how we do around here, Round One Sports TV. Thank you for subscribing. Please give the videos a like. You guys like the content that I'm putting down. It'll help me put out more content every day. I usually stream around 8 o'clock, 8 ish around there. So stay, you know, um, I'm trying to get this thing to send out the people the notifications, but if you're not getting them, please bear with me and check on the times that I will be streaming. Tomorrow, Sunday, I might not stream tomorrow or make a video, and we'll go from there. But thank you for joining the live stream, and I'm on to the next one after this one here at Ron One Sports Talk. Peace, guys.